Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video we're going to pick it up from part 1 and we're going to do an example. So let's say you're asked what would be the coefficient of friction. So now let me state something really quickly. Whenever you're going in a circle and you're not skidding, sliding, hydroplaning or anything, that means that your coefficient of friction that you're trying to find is coefficient of friction static. And the reason why really quick is because your tire and then you have the ground and you don't want the bottom of them to separate, right? Remember, kinetic means movement. In that case, you will be skidding, you will be sliding, your car is hydroplaning. So at the bottom, at the very bottom, you don't want it to separate from the surface. So that's why you're trying to find the coefficient of friction static. All right, so with that being said, they ask us for the coefficient of friction and then we will have to know by that they mean the coefficient static. So now they give us radius equals 5 meters and that the velocity that the car is coming at is 30 meters per second. Alright, so remember using this formula from our video number 1, now we're going to find it. So remember from our friction video, we know that in any horizontal surface it's going to be mg times mu sub s or sub k. In this case it's going to be mu sub s, right? It's going to be equals to mv squared over r. Notice how the mass cancels out, so that's why they didn't give us mass in the problem. So now coefficient of friction, we're just going to say, alright, coefficient of friction, just divide by g, both sides, so sorry, v squared over r divided by g, right? Now we're going to plug in those numbers. 30 squared over r, 5. So I tend to skip units, but I'll not do that here so you guys can see how they cancel all out. 9.8 meters per second squared. Now this meter will end up being meters squared, seconds squared, meters cancel with meters, seconds squared cancel with seconds. Now 30 squared is 900. So remember, please pause this video and put it on a calculator, and it gives us a coefficient of 18.4. Alright, cool. That's our answer. But wait, no, right? Because we said in one of our videos that the maximum coefficient of friction, and I'll repeat it here, the maximum you can be is 1, so it can be less than or equal to 1, but at the same time it has to be greater than or equal, it has to be greater than, can't be 0. I mean 0, yeah sure, equal to 0, which will be frictionless. So your coefficient of friction has to be somewhere in between here, mu sub s or k, right? The maximum it can get is 1, the minimum would be 0 or a frictionless surface. Now 18.4, that doesn't sound right because we said the maximum is 1. So that means it'll probably not be able to make it, right? Now let's prove why it wouldn't be able to make it. So let's pick up our formula again. mg sine, so let's pick it up from here. Alright, I'm going to put the g on the other side. So g mu sub s equals to v squared over rg. Let's find the velocity. Move this 2 to this side. I'm sorry, there's not a g because I put it back. So g times mu sub s equals v squared over r, right? Now, let's find v. So v is going to be equals to g times mu sub s times r. Now take the square root. Now we're going to plug in 9.8. I'm going to skip units. The coefficient of friction, we're not given a coefficient of friction, right? So that's what we were told to look. Let's assume that our concrete or surface, whatever it is, has the maximum possible number of coefficient of friction, which will be 1. And now the radius was 5. Remember, I'm skipping units. Please pause your calculator and make sure you're getting the same numbers as we are. It's just for consistency, and your brain gets used to this, and it becomes a muscle memory. That's the only way that you'll become good at physics, if you're not already, of course. So now I get 7 meters per second. the maximum velocity the car can turn in a 5-meter radius is 7 meters per second, assuming that the coefficient of friction is the maximum possible. So that means it has to go 7 meters per second or slower. Otherwise, it would fly out as it's trying to make the turn. Let's say that's the turn that it has to make, and then this is your car. So then, as you're coming in, you're trying to make that turn. Your coefficient of friction is not high enough, so you don't have enough force pulling you here. So you probably fly out. And yeah, you don't want to do that when you're going on a freeway or a roundabout. Probably be a little bit dangerous. So just drive under the speed limit. That's my advice to you. And I hope this video was useful, guys. That's all I have for you. Remember, let us know what you think on the comments. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. And in the next video, we're going to be talking about centripetal force still. However, now we're going to be talking about it on the vertical axis, meaning the y-axis. I hope you guys have a great day, and good luck on your studies.